So, this is the second author update, author/channel update. Yeah. I'll try and make it brief. My uploads on here have turned down a little bit. Life's a bit busier. I've stopped doing the gaming streams because no one was really watching them. I don't think anybody actually cared about that. I was trying to get them to game the algorithm, but I don't think that was really working in the end. So maybe one day we'll get back to Dutlin in, but I don't know. It's finding the time to do that kind of thing at this point. It's just not happening really. But anyway, the channel itself, it's growing slowly. I'm gonna have my review posted in, I don't know when this is gonna get uploaded, so probably a few days, for the first ever Sherlock Holmes book, which is cool. That won the poll. I made a poll about what people wanted to see, and that one, of the 3 votes, that one got 2. So, yeah. So after that, I'm currently reading through Shannon Brooks' Shadow the Conqueror novel. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I'll have a probably pretty long video about that actually when I actually finish it. It's quite a long book. Because I'm trying to get some more indie stuff on this channel. I did Daniel Green's Breach of Peace actually that might have been a month ago now. Can't exactly remember when. So yeah, I've got Shannon Brooks' Shadow the Conqueror, and I have been meaning to do a review for Ian Kirkpatrick's Bleed More, Body More, which is a book that I read back towards the beginning of the year. I just never ever actually posted the review about it. So I need to record that and get that out as well at some point. I don't know if people are going to be that interested in indie stuff, but I don't actually care without sounding too crass. I'd like to try and help build, some kind of independent sort of just buzz for independent books, I guess. Because that's what they need. That's what they always need, and it's what independent authors can never actually get. So apart from that, I'm probably going to do a video on the Communist Manifesto at some point. I think that'd be interesting to talk about that and talk about how well that's translated into modern day from the time it was written in. Because I think a lot of people don't. I think a lot of people don't like to look at it in the cultural context of its time. They like to compare it to now, and I think that's an interesting angle. I'm also I'm meaning to do a review on both Animal Farm and the Portrait of Dorian Gray at some point as well, 2 books that I read a few years ago, which I really enjoyed, and I'd like to get the reviews and analysis out on them. I'll also be doing one for American Psycho at some point. I read that pretty recently, and it's such a hard book to talk about. The plot is just all over the place and very meandering, so that's going to be a difficult review to actually work through, but I want to do that. And then on my to-read list after Shadow the Conqueror, I have the original Phantom of the Opera, which I think would be cool. And I've also got I'm actually a copy of Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf. I'd quite like to read that and do a video diving into that, because I think it's an interesting. The fact that this book still exists is interesting to me. The fact that people still sell it, the fact that it's in certain countries even legal to own, it's an interesting precedent. I don't know. But I think diving into the sort of writings of the most evil person in modern history, I think would be an interesting discussion video. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get through that at some point. It's gonna be difficult. It's quite a big book. I have a feeling that it's going to be quite egomaniacal, and I don't know, but that is a book that I'd like to get through at some point as well. So that's what the channel is looking like for the foreseeable future. Probably just once a week kind of uploads, because I really can't do tons anymore. The Ayn Rand video did very well. Well, I say very well, but for this channel, it did very well, and nothing else has done that well since. So I don't know if that was just fluke. The title was pretty clickbaity for that one, so maybe that's why. I don't know. As far as author updates go, so my novella, I guess you'd call it, The Seraph of Kitsch, is finished. I said in my last one I'm going to be releasing that online through my website and probably through Wattpad, but nobody reads Wattpad. Anyway, I'm going to be releasing that online, sort of serialized, but I'm just trying to get the funds together to get a cover art and a release schedule for that. As far as actual writing goes, I've put We Should Be Brave Laughing Men on the back burner for a bit. I don't think it's the right book to release now. I also just hate editing, and it's going to take a lot of editing. And recently I've been much more in the writer's frame of mind. I've been writing my next novel. The working title is The Pontiff of Kitsch, no relation to The Seraph of Kitsch. As I said in the last video, the Seraph of Kitsch was kind of like the original story, and then I scrapped it. I'd abandoned that story like about quite a while ago. Well, not quite a while. Would have been like in the summer of last year, maybe. And I was like, oh, I'll maybe get back to it, but I never did. And then I had this idea for this, the Pontiff of Kitsch, and a lot of the scenes actually were going to translate across. And then I finished Seraph of Kitsch anyway. So Pontiff of Kitsch is a very different story. There is no fantasy elements or horror elements or anything. It is I can open it right here, actually. We are up to 17,000 words, and I only started writing this thing like maybe a week or two, maybe a week and a half ago. So we're making very good progress. It's coming very naturally. I don't know if anybody ever want to read it. It's a very it's not strange, but it's just kind of like a weird book, especially for me to write. It's sort of one part a satire of rock and roll and heavy metal and sort of local sort of heavy metal scenes. And it's one part a coming of age story, and one part sort of has a little bit of a commentary on something as well. It's basically about not a girl, a young woman, I guess, reach the end of sort of youth, right? And she's in the sort of local heavy metal scene, and she ends up running into this very, very strange performer whose stage name is the Pontiff of Kitsch, and it's sort of her going through life for a bit. It's just sort of looking at her life for a bit and her interactions with this sort of larger than life character, and it's very, very. The prose is relatively conversational, which is something I don't normally do. It's got huge satire elements. I will say something like American Psycho was a huge influence. Not that it's a horror or horrible or anything like American Psycho. It's nothing like American Psycho, but the way it's written is a bit more like American Psycho. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how it develops, and I'm interested to see how it ends up. And I think it'll be an interesting book that no one will read, but I will read it. And ultimately, really, if you're not writing books that you want to read, then what are you doing? Because, I don't know, it will be weird. I will have a very weird bibliography if that comes out as my third novel. Because we would have gone from fantasy, fantasy, dystopia, satire. I'd class Carrion King as a satire novel. I know lots of people don't get the satire in it, which is hilarious because it's really not very, very... It's not subtle at all. It's got the subtlety of a brick going through a window, but... And then Desky Musk was obviously evil and horrible, and I guess horror, if even. And this one will be just a sort of present day, no supernatural elements, just sort of slice of life novel. And we'll see how it goes, and we'll see how it ends up, if it's even publishable at the end of it all. But that's it for me, I think, for the last month and a bit. If you like the reviews, share them, like them, subscribe. If you're interested in my books, check them out. They're not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. You can even find my short story, The Carrion King, on my website for free. sign up for my mailing list. It's on my website. And you can follow me on Facebook. It's really where most of my social media posting go. Or Goodreads, actually. If you follow me on Goodreads, I sometimes post there. I used to post on Goodreads a fair bit, actually. Like, I post reviews and things, but I don't really do that anymore. But yeah. So, we'll see what happens. I feel this is going to be a slow year. But, yeah.
I shed blood of Saxon man. I shed the blood of the Saxon man. I shed